Hello everyone, Mike Rempel from Excel Bytes with today's Excel blog post. In the past, we've done several tutorials on how to pull data from a data range. And we're going to kind of quickly review three of them and then add a new one that I think you'll find very interesting. So let's see how we're going to do this in Excel. So here I have a simple data range. And I've done three previous tutorials that I'll list the links in the notes below, in three different ways of pulling data out of this data range. The first is just a simple index and match scenario where if I have a specific product here and a specific month, it'll find the intersection of that row and column and pull the data. So for product 3, for May, you can see 1910 is the intersection, and again, here's the formula to do that. The second tutorial we did is, what if I want the whole month of data or the whole row for the product values? And again, these are the two formulas to do that. So the month total for, in this case, May, you can see 13,265, which is correct. The product total for product 3, 14,671. Again, it pulls that correctly. And again, you can review the link below for the tutorial to do that. Then I got a request for, if I want a product, but I don't want the full year's worth of data or a specific 1 month, I want a range of months. So in this case, product 6, but from February to June. How do we accomplish that? And again, here's the formula to do that. And if we take a look at product 6, from February to June, you see 6311, 6311. So again, that formula works fine. And again, you can see the details of that in the link below to that tutorial. But then I got a new request here is, what happens if I have multiple products, multiple of the same products, like several rows of product 6 and product 1 and product 10, and they're scattered randomly throughout. They're all not in individual or contiguous blocks. How do I pull the data for a range of months in order to do that? Well, that'll be on our second tab here. And again, here is the formula to accomplish that, where you're going to use some product with indirect, address, and match functions in order to accomplish that. So first, let's look at two of the functions that we're going to use, indirect and address. If I look at address, address creates a cell reference as text given a specific row and column. Now the key here is as text. And again, what it wants is a row number and a column number, and that'll give me the address of that as text. Now the indirect function returns the reference specified by a text string. So it'll take the text reference that the address function created and convert it into a string that Excel, or a reference range or a reference cell that Excel can use in some kind of calculation, because Excel can't add up text, but it can add up values that are in a reference of a range or specific cells, etc. So the indirect function takes the results of the address function and converts it into something that Excel can use to calculate by. So if we take a look at this formula, basically what we're doing is taking the sum product function, which again, sum product will give you the sum of the product of multiple ranges or arrays. So again, if we take a look at that, equals sum product, returns the sum of products of corresponding ranges or arrays. So if you take a look at this formula, you'll see we're multiplying this range or array times this one here, so Excel knows what to add up. Now the second one is quite simple. Basically, it's taking cell A2 to A22, that range, which is my list of products, and saying what equals B24. B24 in this case is product 6. So that's basically saying only give me the rows of A2 to A22 that equals product 6. So that's pretty straightforward. The real key to this is this range here, which is how do I use the indirect function and the address and the match functions to create the range to multiply against the list of products that equal, in this case, product 6. So in our specific scenario here, if we want to go from May to October, then we basically want from F2 to K22. That's the range that we want to create of data that I can multiply times that second half of our formula. So I just put that down here, F2 to K22. That's what we're trying to accomplish. So if we go back and look at our formula, again, the address function, we want the first address and match functions to give me F2, and we're going to concatenate that with a colon and concatenate that with a second address and match function combination that will give me K22. So let's take a look and see how we do this. Now if we look at the address function, you see it wants a row number and a column number. So in our scenario here, I manually or hard-coded in for the first one the row number because I know my data begins in row 2. And in the second one, I hard-coded 22 because, again, I know that's my last row of data. So the row is going to be either 2 for the F2 or 22 for the K22. So all we want to do now is add the column number so we can find that intersection and have that cell reference. So we use the match function to do this. And all I did was say match B25, so that's the beginning one, May, with A1 to M1 with an exact match. So if I highlight that portion of my address function or formula and I hit F9, notice it gives me a 6 because that is the column 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of May. So address 2, 6 would give me, again hitting F9, F2. Now I'm going to concatenate that with a colon and concatenate that with the second address function. Again, I hard-coded the 22, so if I just look at the match function and I hit F9, that gives me 22 and 11. And again, the address of 22 and 11, hit F9, is K22. So now my indirect function will take and concatenate F2 and a colon and K22, and the result of that is going to be a series of all the values from 1052, which again is from F2 down to 1795, which is K22. And so it took and created that block of values. And now I'm going to multiply that times where A2 to A22 equals B24, which in this case is product 6. And the result of that will give me just the values of this block here where A2 and to A22 equals product 6. So I'm going to escape out of that and go back to my formula here. Now again, if you need to make this a little more dynamic with the address function, again, the first one probably is pretty simple to hard code in that number 2 or wherever your first row of data is. If you want to make the second one a little more dynamic, all you need to do is maybe replace this with a counta function that may count the values. Then you may need to adjust that based on maybe the number of blank rows you had above your data, or how many rows of headers you might have, or if you have data below that might adjust or modify those values, that value setting. But I'm sure you can come up with a way of replacing and making that second row number for the address a little more dynamic. And that's how you can accomplish this in Excel.
So thanks for watching this tutorial. If you found it beneficial, please share it, like it, or give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't yet, please subscribe to my blog at my website, excel-bytes.com, or any of the social networks you see below. Have a great day and happy excelling.